Okay, so here we are. Like the title says, I'm gonna be showing you a few techniques I've sort of put together and pieced together over the years to make your sounds a little bit more like organic and analog, and just give them some character and some feeling, because I feel like it's it's not a terribly hard task to make like good, clean synth sounds, but what really takes them to the next level for me is when I hear people finding some way to make them, give them like a cool texture and bring them to life. And I'm gonna be showing you some techniques to hopefully be able to do that in your own tracks here. Um, and yeah, and I will also say, like, a lot of this is kind of subjective. It's hard to sort of quantify it, and hard to sort of quantify things about music in general, but like especially this. But hopefully you'll agree with me that there's some pretty good techniques to be learned here. So you heard this little loop in the intro. The main chord thing sounds like this. And then it just kind of goes on like that. Now there's two things that I'm moving around here to give it this like changing, kind of like evolving sound. It's this reverb. I'm automating the mix. Let me show you. Okay, so I'm automating the mix of the reverb, and then I'm also automating the amount of the erosion. So you can see what's happening is it's going sort of like, you know, it's doing like that. Like it's like jumping up at some points and then quickly coming back down, and then the erosion is coming in a little bit slower, but it's still in there in the background. And what this is doing is it's giving the sound like really a sense of like I said, it sounds like it's like evolving constantly. It's like somehow always changing because they don't have this exactly the same every time and all that kind of stuff. But this is a really good thing to do. If you can just do simple automation, like if you have a chord part like this, for example, even with just this reverb, it sounds pretty cool. And then if I turn the reverb off, so it definitely works without it, but you can see the reverb and the erosion are giving it another dimension. So if you can do stuff like this, like using, you know, automating different effects sort of on and off and kind of make it sound like someone's doing it live by hand, or you really could just do it by hand if you have like a MIDI controller, you know, like an Ableton Push or something you could record in the automations. But anything you can do like that to make it sound like you're sort of like turning knobs in real time can really help, because it gives it like this very, I mean, it's like I said, it's just constantly changing because these knobs are sort of going around. Another technique you can use is layering in like sort of other sounds. And this one's been talked about a lot. I'm not gonna contribute to the noise too much, but there's a few things I think I can touch on that are like important to know. So yeah, like layering in different sounds. Like I have this noise layer. And you can see it's just sort of, if I get this instrument rack track thing down, if you look at it, all the notes of like this thing are lining up with where these little noises happen. And it's not perfect, but what it does is it adds more texture. It's like I've been talking about. It's like, yeah, it's adding a lot more texture to it. It's like giving it something extra on top of it to just give it something more to listen to. I mean, it's like, you gotta keep in mind, like, it could get boring listening to a whole track where it was just this. That might sound good when you listen to it as a loop or when you listen to it just for like a couple minutes on its own, but when you're listening to a whole track, I mean, there's gotta be something else that happens to keep it, you know, to keep it interesting. So this noise, and I also have this one too, this little vinyl noise. It's very quiet. But yeah, just doing that can really like, it just gives the listener like something else to sort of think about. Like, oh wow, that's cool. That synth sounds like it's falling apart. What is going on? Well, really, it's just because there's a layer of this like noise on top of it. Now, there's a few other things that you can do. You can, like, you know, you can use sort of like real sounds for synths. So for example, I have this. Which is just like a little vocal stab. Let me see if I can find the original one. Okay, yeah, so it's like one of those, and I just took a short portion of it. And this is actually a good tip for Ableton Sampler. If you're doing like a vocal lead like this, where you put a one shot in and then have it, you know, play notes, you can do this little loop here. And if you mess with the start and the length and make them like shorter, you can use this fade here. So if I just do this without the fade, you can hear a bunch of it like going, you know, restarting the sample a bunch of times. If I add this fade, it's a lot smoother and it's a lot nicer. And using this as opposed to like a saw wave or a square wave or something, it again brings another dimension to your sounds, because it's not just, oh, there's the same old boring synth sounds that I hear in every track. It's like, oh, there's something with like a new feeling. And obviously any kind of audio that you use is going to bring more sort of texture to your sound. And that's just really what I'm trying to get at here, is like, it's all about having good music combined with like good like textural and sonic kind of things. For lack of a better way to describe it. It just really is about like trying to get the most texture out of your sounds, and the most like I said, the goal here is, and what you always want to keep in mind when you're doing this, is you just always want it to sound as like human and real as possible. And definitely bringing in real world things with synths can help to do that. And this is a lot more like sort of conceptual as well. It's more like about like why you're doing it. Well, like why you're doing it sort of informs your process more than like anything else, I will say. Like it's more like thinking about the listener than like thinking about the technique. But I mean, that's important, because if it sounds good, it is good. So that's what I want to get across here. I hope you guys learned something in this video. This project file is going to be downloadable in the description. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I'll be back again tomorrow. Like this video, comment on this video if you learned something, or if you hated it, let me know. Subscribe, check out my sample packs, and yeah, peace, guys.